Hey guys, welcome to another episode of A Cup of Positivity, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm really excited to say that this is episode 5 of the podcast. I can't believe I finally got to my little first mini milestone. If it's your first time listening or your 5th time listening, I'm super grateful for you, and thank you for being here. This week I interviewed the lovely Jack English. He's an ex-Royal Marine turned close protection security officer, and he now focuses on helping people to master personal excellence, self-control and discipline in all areas of life.
Where I am right now is because of the decisions and the experiences that I've gone through, that I've made. I was man enough to make those decisions, so now let's try and work out what's happened and why you've done it. Like, my mum isn't like a spiritual person or even into personal development or anything like that, but as kids, she always used to instill into us, there's no such word as can't. We'd be like, oh, I can't do that, or I can't do this, or I can't do that, or I can't do that. And it wasn't like you can do anything. All she said was, there's no such word as can't. So in my head, I was like, just don't give a voice to what you can't do.
Jack tells us all about his personal story and how being a Royal Marine has shaped the person he is today. He also offers advice and guidance to anyone looking to better their overall fitness, health, well-being, basically by working on your internal machine. So listen to the end to find out what that means. It was a real pleasure speaking to Jack, and I'd highly recommend connecting with him if you want any kind of tips on becoming a stronger and fitter person, both internally as well as externally. As always, guys, please like, share and review wherever you're listening, and thank you so much again for taking the time out to listen. See you soon. Hi Jack, welcome to A Cup of Positivity. How are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. How are you?
Good, I'm really good. Did you bring your cup of tea with you?
I did, it's right here.
Ooh, cheers.
Cheers. So I've got to spin it round because it's actually got the... I don't know if you can read that if it's the wrong way.
One person can make a difference and everyone should try. Oh, that's nice.
There we go.
Did someone get that for you, or did you buy it?
Yeah, my good friend Emma Deeker bought it for me.
Oh, love Emma.
Yeah.
Is it like one of those big mugs, or is it just my camera?
It's a big mug.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not like monster, but it is a big mug.
Yeah, it does look it. Okay, cool. Yeah, what tea is it?
That's good. It's green tea. So it's Knightsbridge green tea.
Okay. I was thinking, because I know you told me that you're not really a tea drinker, so I was like, oh gosh, making Jack
I don't drink tea at all. I'm literally, so this is just opened, 40 bags. This is the first bag out of it. So
you've opened it just for this?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, if you could introduce yourself to people who might not know you, and then we'll just go from there.
Of course, yeah. So morning everyone, my name's Jack English. I met Martha a couple of years back now, is it? I think something like that. Yeah. We were doing some business and property training stuff together, and within a mastermind group, which was great. And now I am on the way to developing and building a brand new online business towards helping people master their own personal excellence and take back their self-control.
That sounds amazing. And what were you doing before what you're doing now?
So I used to be in the Royal Marines, so military guy, and alongside what I'm doing now, I do close protection security. So essentially I'm a bodyguard, but I hate the phrase because it's so cliche.
I think it's quite, every time I hear the bodyguard, I just think of the movie. So yeah, but why is it cliche? I don't think it's cliche.
Why? It's just, I don't know. It's just, I suppose it's just I don't like the phrase because it gives a perception of something that's not particularly, people have this elaborative, that exact thing. Oh, like The Bodyguard or the TV program, The Bodyguard. And it's like, it's not really like that. It's more just sitting around waiting for carrying shopping and things like that most of the time. So.
Oh, okay. I've ruined it now.
Obviously, amongst other things.
Yeah. So tell us about your life as a Marine, like how did that shape you?
Pretty defining, really, because I joined straight from school. So I was like 17 years old. So
Wow.
I joined very young. I think you can join at 16 and a half. So not the smallest of the children there, but yeah, so it's very hard. Like the training and the discipline and all that type of stuff was hard, but it sort of instilled the correct values and sort of principles in my life that can now pretty much withstand most things that sort of life has to throw at you, really. Once you've got a set of values and principles that you sort of abide by on a daily basis, irrelevant of what you're doing, if you can embed a good set of core principles, you're on the way to doing very well, really. From a personal perspective, irrelevant of success, business, work, friends, anything. It's if you can nail that down, that it's sort of, we're in a time now where it's not really something that a lot of people know. Like if you say to people, well, what do you actually value? That some people don't actually know. And it's a real shame. It's a real shame. But yeah, so I went through, so the training to become a Royal Marine is 32 weeks long, so 9 months long. It's the longest and most arduous, is what they say, basic military training in the world, in any armed force, which was what part of the reason I chose it. I remember being in the careers office as a young guy, not knowing what was going on, and I remember after about an hour's sort of talk, the guy was like, "Oh, well, have you thought about the Marines?" And I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty hardcore.
That's intense."
What? And he was like, "Oh," then he said, "Oh, well, it's the most arduous and longest basic training in the world." And I was like, "Oh, that sounds like a challenge. Let's dive into that." So the rest is history, I suppose.
But talk about throw yourself in the deep end, though.
Yeah, I mean, so sort of rewind before then. I left school, and everyone in my town, you either go to university or you do a trade. Basically, you go to college and you do a trade. So I was working on a building site, doing sort of bricklaying and manual labor, basically. And I just remember one day literally turning up to work and looking around the guys, and of complete wide range, age ranges. And I remember seeing the old guys of 50, 55, 60. And I was just like, I sort of had a flash, and I was like, whoa, that is not going to be me. I'm not this. I was meant for way more than this.
Yeah.
And that was that. It's sort of, I went to the careers office not really knowing too much. I was just like, oh, I remember when the military guys came to school and that looked pretty cool. Why don't I just go and see what that's all about? And you go down and they basically give you, it's not an interview. It's like a characterization assessment, I suppose. They sort of weigh you up and see where you would be suited. And I was a young, fit guy playing lots of sport and stuff. So, and he was like, oh, well, have you thought about this? And I was like, that is hardcore. And yeah, I went down, got through, and yeah, it absolutely shaped me into the man I am now. Very hard, through sheer hard work, determination, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into that. But I genuinely believe that things worth fighting for, worth having, don't come if you have to sit on your bum all day, then you don't really, nothing really. You have to grind something out to get any sort of sense of fulfillment or joy out of anything. I feel.
I agree. So then, do you apply and then you go through that 9-week training, and then that's it, or can you go through the training and they still say, no, sorry, you're not good enough, or whatever?
No. So essentially, the 32 weeks is.
Oh, sorry, you said 9 months, not 9 weeks.
Yeah, 9 months. So it's a long time. So it's, you basically turn up, and you have something like, you can leave up to, I think it's 15 weeks in. I think you can just voluntarily say, look, this is not for me. I've had enough. I'm not going to go any further. After then, you can't, and you wouldn't either, because you've you're halfway. So
Yeah.
it's like, don't get me wrong, it's not easy from there, but you're in it then, and it's like you're sort of in the zone. It's one of those things. Don't get me wrong, you're not. That doesn't mean you're on the path to passing, because you can get all the way to the end and still fail. So at the end of the 9 months, there's 4 tests.
Okay.
So to pass and become, basically, Royal Marines wear green berets. That's how they're distinctively identified across the world, right? Really, is that the coveted green beret is what it's called. So you have to earn your green beret. So to earn it, you have to do 4 tests, a series of 4 tests on five consecutive days. So on the Saturday morning, you do the endurance course, which is a 2.5 mile obstacle course on like Woodbury Common, which is like a national park down in Exmoor, near the training centre. Through a series of tunnels, water, lake, like just full of mud, rubbish, like horrible.
Yeah.
And then you run back to the camp, which is about a 4 mile run. And then you have to get there, clean your like rifle really quickly, and then you have to shoot and knock, I think, 8 out of 10 targets.
Wow.
And you have to do that all in like, I think it's 75 minutes or something like that.
Wow. Okay.
It's hard. So that's on the Saturday. And then on the Sunday, then you have the Sunday off. Then the Monday, you do a 9 mile speed march. So as a group or a squad, you'll have a guy at the front that will lead the pace, and he'll, like the classic shouting out the one, left, right, that type of thing, will set the pace. So it's usually at a 10-minute mile pace. If there are any of those that run. And you have to do 9 miles as a group, and you have to complete that. So you've got 90 minutes to do that. And then the Tuesday is the Tarzan assault course. So on the camp, there is an actual assault course, which is a lot shorter than the endurance course, and contains lots of high ropes, high obstacles. It's like a short, so it's like 10 minutes, but it's like, think of HIIT training times 500. It's just insane.
Yeah.
And it finishes with a 30-meter vertical wall that you have to pull yourself up to the top. And then, so that's day 4. And then on the Wednesday, the last test is a 30-mile run across Dartmoor National Park. And you're in small syndicates, like 6-man teams, and you have to run. It's 30 miles. You go through 6 different checkpoints, and you have to do that in 7 hours. And then when you finish that, if you have passed each test consecutively, at the end of the 30 mile, you will be presented with your green beret, which is an amazing feeling. To sort of go back on that, every test is done with wearing a belt with weight in it. So you do that wearing 22 pounds and your rifle on your back. So it's around about 10 kilos, just to make it even easier. So, but from what I remember, I was very fortunate. I passed each one when they needed to be done. So if you failed one, I think you had the rest of that week to retake whatever it is that you needed to do. And I think you could fail 2 and you could redo 2. And then by the Saturday, if you'd failed, essentially there's a new troop that gets intaken every 2 weeks at Lympstone. So there's a new batch of recruits that join recruit training. So each group of lads are 2 weeks behind each other. So if you fail at anything, you could basically go back into the troop 2 weeks behind. So if you failed your tests, you would go back to the next troop and retake the tests. Retake them again in like 2 weeks' time. So it's in your best interest to pass them first time, really. For sure. Otherwise, it can turn into a bit of a miserable month, to be fair.
Yeah. But do you still have friends from the Marines that you still in contact with?
Yeah, absolutely. As you can imagine, some of the friends that you go through things like that with are sort of friends for life, really. It really is a sort of brotherhood for want of a better word. So I've been best man at numerous weddings and all that type of stuff. And now godfathers and uncles to children and stuff as we get older and things like that. So it's hard because we're all spread, because as you can imagine, everyone's from all different walks of life and different parts of the country. But I always try and make time to keep those friendships alive, because essentially they are like, I've got friends that I had at school that I don't keep in touch with, but those people, and they live down the road, but those friends I'll drive 4 or 5 hours to go and see them for the weekend or whatever, which proper friends, what you would call real friends, which always got your back or would help you out in a pinch or whatever. So it's good. And then so you pass your training, and then that's the start. Like, then you go to do your job. Like, that's, you haven't even started the job yet. But an amazing, I had an amazing 8-year career, traveled all over the world, played loads of sport, did amazing soldiering stuff, also did some not so nice stuff, but again, it's sort of a testament to my character and made me who I am and the experiences I went through and all that type of stuff. So I wouldn't change it for the world. Obviously there's things that happen over there that are not nice, and there were people that didn't come back and got injured and things like that, which is a real shame. People close to me as well, which again is a shame, but it's all experiences and lessons for life, really, which, like I said, you don't really grow as a person having just not really just floating through all the time. That's my belief anyway.
So then what would you say to anyone who was thinking of joining or applying?
Absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a full commitment, because it's sort of what I've just explained, and the longitude of it, the length of time that you're there. So the slogan now is, it's a state of mind. Which it absolutely is. It's not about brute force, muscles, and all the rest of that type of stuff. The big, burly, muscly guys don't last because they haven't got the sort of mental capacity and the mental strength, or the big, strong guys struggle to lift themselves up or do a certain amount of pull-ups, things like that. It's really hard for them because they weigh so much. Like, I was 17 years old and I was like 8 stone soaking wet, probably. It was ridiculous. So, but I remember from the training that I did when I got down there, I put on like 1.5 stone in like 2 weeks.
I can imagine.
It was crazy. So it takes a special person. Like I said, the slogan now is, it's a state of mind. They changed it. So when I joined, it used to be 99.9% need not apply.
Wow. Okay.
But I think they changed it because it was like scaring people. It was like, whereas for me, my mentality, even at that age, was like, I'm 0.1%. I'll take some of that. I'll go for that. But I think that sort of embodies the whole sort of ethos of it. It's you have to have that little bit extra of something. We used to sort of say, when we were training and stuff, we'd do stuff in the mornings, and then sort of on a Saturday, you would usually train in the morning, and then you would pretty much have the rest of the day off. So we'd go into town and stuff like that. And we'd have conversations, and we'd be like on the train going into town and stuff. And we'd be like, do you think any of these other people have any idea what we've done this morning already, let alone like what we've done this week? And it definitely does take you sort of find people from all walks of life end up joining the Marines, but we're all the similar sort of personality and character, because it takes a special kind of, I mean, nothing can prepare you for it. I've been asked numerous times, by guys that want to join up, what's the best thing to prepare you for your mindset and all the rest of that type of stuff? And I don't know if there is anything that can prepare you for it. That in itself cultivates and brings it out. You just need to have a dogged will, really, and just the determination to just not give up and persevere and just hang in there, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of achievement and fulfillment, putting yourself through something like that and then achieving passing at the end, that in itself is worth all the hardship that you go through.
Yeah.
The elation you get at the end of standing there victorious and all the rest of that type of stuff is just like, wow, look what I've just achieved and look where I've come from, which is amazing. So for people that would like to do it is 100%, but you need to be 100%.
Yeah.
Because any shed of doubt in your mind, they will test you to your absolute max.
Yeah.
So if you're not 100%, you will crack and you will break. It's similar to, I don't know if you've ever seen the SAS Who Dares Wins program. Similar to
no, I've seen it advertised, but I've never watched.
Similar to that, theirs is just a lot more condensed version in terms of just trying to break you down. But yeah, it's 100% focus is what you need to have there. Nothing else can really matter.
Yeah. And what is the minimum amount of time that you're there? Is there a minimum?
As in the Marines in general?
Yeah.
So they do it slightly different to some of the other armed forces. You sign different length contracts. With the Marines, they do it a little bit different in terms of you sign a full contract, which is 20. I think I signed a 22-year contract.
Wow.
You basically, it's full on. Day one, when you turn up, you go in, you swear an oath to the Queen and all the rest of that type of stuff. You pledge your allegiance, and then you sign a contract, or sign your life away, as they call it, for 22 years. You have to do a minimum of 4. But so essentially, after 3 years, you can put your notice in, and your notice period is 12 months long. Okay. A little bit different to some office jobs, but
yeah, definitely.
but the good thing with it is in that period, in those 12 months, they, depending on how long you've served, what you've done, etc., you'll be entitled to a certain amount of resettlement reimbursement. So you will get a certain amount of money to train in whatever. Like if you want to leave the Marines and go and be a IT consultant, you can go and do a computer course that the Marines will pay for in that time, so that you can transition across into it something different. So when it's like, a 12 months notice, they're giving you not enough time to prepare yourself for moving across back into civilian life, which that is a transition in itself. Going from an institution like the military, and especially something as sort of elite as the Royal Marines, is a lot of friends. I haven't, I mean, touch wood, I haven't like struggled with anything in that regard, but I've got some friends that have struggled very much with adapting to sort of losing their purpose and not really knowing what they stand for. And that was the good thing about the Marines, is everyone, you had values, you had purpose, you had, like, everyone was humble, but you were confident in, you were there for a reason, and you did a job and you did it well, and you got, that was it. So you get some guys that leave sometimes because if they get injured or something and they can't continue, they leave not of their own free will. And it can be a really, really sad spiral. And again, unfortunately, I've had lads on the other way, guys that I've known that have actually taken their own life, that it's gone that bad that they've left, ended up drinking or taking drugs or something like that, and just to try and numb whatever it is that they're going through. And then ended up taking their own life. So it's not a joke, really. It's sort of one of those, I mean, mental health, and it's great the way that the awareness for mental health and stuff like that is becoming more and more apparent, because it is a real issue. And even some guys as sort of some high caliber guys that I would put as a character as really strong, really like resilient, robust, nothing would break them, put them back into society after. I mean, what you've got to try and understand is you're talking about some guys that have been to war, been and done all this stuff, and then all of a sudden they're like back, and some guys like working at Tesco's or something like that, and it's like the difference in that is sort of guys just are like whoa, like I used to be this almighty Superman, and now I'm nothing essentially, and yeah, it's really, so that's sort of part of the reason why I'm going down the sort of route of with my business now, in terms of trying to definitely try and help guys and girls either going and joining the military, in the military already, to be able to not just solely rely on that specific thing, and like that is who they are, and that's great, and that's what makes them who they are. But in the same breath, should that be taken away from you for whatever reason, out of your control, to have the backup and the extra layers to, okay, if I do lose that, I've still got these other things that I'm good at, I have in place, and all the rest of that type of stuff. So yeah, that's where I want to go with. That's my vision for what it is. So
well, I have been reading your ebook, which we'll go into in a minute, but I know at the beginning you mentioned that coming out of the Marines, you went through a bit of a dark place. But how do you begin that process of getting out of that dark place and moving forward to where you are now?
For me, it was, I jumped or dived into the self-examination type way. And I wouldn't sort of advise it to other people, because it's a tough thing to do, to sort of completely break yourself down and criticize and analyze yourself, your behaviors, your patterns of what you did, and try and understand why you did them, was something that's what I chose to do. I'm sure there are definitely easier ways to do it, but that was the way that I did it. Like I said, I don't know if I would advise or condone other people to do it, because it was hard, and it was long, and it was difficult. But what I got from it was brilliant. Really, it massively helped to pull me out of that dark sort of place, in terms of basically just bringing more self-awareness to myself, and being able to just be like, okay, one, taking ownership for what had happened, was like, I wasn't in a dark place because I was like playing the victim. I was like, no, where I am right now is because of the decisions and the experiences that I've gone through, that I've made. So I was man enough to make those decisions. So now let's try and work out what's happened and why you've done them. So for me, that was the route that I took, in terms of basically dissecting my experiences and my sort of the way I did things, which sort of opened up a magnitude. Obviously, personal development and stuff like that was something I'd didn't even know about. Like, I didn't even know there was a self-help section in the book shop. Like, there was no idea, and like positivity and all that type of stuff. I was always I call it neutral thinking, where I'm not like, I know people that are positive people all the time. And I'm just like, wow, like, how are you happy all the time? Like, it's mental. And like, I found that sometimes positivity isn't always, it's hard. Like, if you're in a position where friends have died and this, that, and the other, and you're going through a divorce or whatever, it's like, try and be positive with that. Like, that is really hard. So what I always looked to was neutral based thinking. So what are the facts? Where are we? No, like I think without even like, my mum isn't a like a spiritual person or even into personal development or anything like that, but as kids she always used to instill into us, like, a thing she always used to say was, there's no such word as can't.
Yeah.
Like we'd be like, oh, I can't do that, or can't do this, or
Yeah.
can't do that, or I can't do that. She'd be like, there's no such word as can't. And it wasn't like you can do anything. All she said was, there's no such word as can't. So in my head I was like, well, just don't give a voice to what you can't do, essentially. And I always, one of my, like, you've got to be your own best cheerleader, essentially. Minus the pom-poms for me. But I just looked at things where it's so easy to be like, oh, like another thing's happening, or this is like, it's my fault, it's not my fault, I'm being whatever. My thing was to be like, okay, what are the facts? Where are we at? What has actually happened, and where can we go? And from that, like, it was a long journey, and it still is a journey. I'm not being self-proclaimed to have cracked it, because it's so far from that.
Yeah.
But it's very much what I've come to believe and come to learn is, it's all about the process. As much as having goals and things to aim for and stuff is amazing, and the only way you will really get there, but achieving those only comes into fruition if you're actually enjoying getting
process.
to them.
Yeah.
Which, like, to go back to the training analogy, those 32 weeks, yes, every single day was to get to earn your green beret, but 32 weeks is a long time. If you didn't enjoy those 32 weeks, it is a long time. So I had to learn to enjoy the suffering and the pain and the hard work that went into it. And that was something that I could then emulate and take into anything else. So when I was in that dark place, I was like, oh, do you know what? Like, this is emotionally hard, but physically I've done way worse, like way worse. So it's always like trying to give yourself a little bit of credit, where it's due, in terms of you're not broken. Like, you just had a bit of a slump or a bit of a plateau, and you just need to pick yourself up. And also, good friends around you massively help. Like, having a good support network around you is absolutely fundamental. And sharing about stuff as well, like, that really helped. I didn't do it initially, and that I'd find myself like just sat down, and then it'd be like 6 o'clock in the evening, it'd be dark, and I'd just be sat in the room, and I'd just be like, whoa, hold on, like, this is ridiculous. And just the pressure and the weight of everything on your shoulders. Once you just start sharing stuff, it's absolutely, a problem shared is a problem halved, 100%. Because then you get other people's perspectives, you're in it, so sometimes you're just like that, you can't see the wood from the trees, essentially. And then someone just pulls you out and just goes, well, hold on, this and this, and you're just like, oh yeah, of course. Because you can't read it when it's like here, but then as soon as you step back and you're like, you're just reading one part of it, that's that negative piece. And then and don't get me wrong, I feel that, I mean, not always, but for me, it was people that were close to me were able to be like, well, hold on, this isn't you, this isn't that. And then before I knew it, I was like, but also sometimes maybe someone different, not a stranger, but someone with a completely different viewpoint of it can just sometimes bring a whole different dynamic, and you can just go, oh wow, there we go, there's the light bulb, and flip it on its head. But yeah, that's pretty much the self-awareness, I think, is the main part of, okay, where are we at, what's happened, what can we do to go forward, really is the main consensus.
I can imagine though that it's really hard when you've been in an environment for so long where you have to be strong and you have to be brave, and now you're in a position where communicating how you're feeling or being vulnerable with another person must be really difficult.
100%.
Yeah. So that barrier, I think, must be a hard one to get through, no?
100%. Yeah. And it was like something that I almost had to learn like from scratch, because you're absolutely right. Like, I was conditioned to be a tough, show no emotion, blah blah blah, get the job done, all the rest of it. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, but like my heart hurts. Do you know? But that was like, it was like, oh my, what? This is ridiculous. Like, it was so alien to me. It was just like, I have no idea how to, like, if this, in my head, I was like, if this was like a 30-mile race, I'd know what to do. You know, but like, I'm sitting in a room and I feel sad, and I don't know I don't know what to do. Like, I obviously, in hindsight and retrospect is a great thing. And I know that I had the tools to be able to do it. But at the time it was just like, what? Like, this is mental. Like, I don't know. Like, it was exactly that thing. It was like, I feel this, but I don't know what it is. And it's sort of unnatural to me. And just learning, but again, just to go in and be like, okay, well, what is it? Like, what am I feeling? What do I feel? Because as like a guy, and especially like a Marine, been to war and all the rest of it, was like, feelings? Like, what are they? Yeah. So that was a whole new chapter in terms of, okay, well, where do we start with this one type sketch? But it's good. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm still working on the feelings type of stuff, but it's definitely getting better.
Okay, so tell us about your ebook and the machine.
Okay, so to be perfect, here we go. So you're the first person that's actually read that.
Oh, okay. I feel privileged.
Like, it's very much in its infancy of what it is. So the outline protocol, I suppose, of want of a better word, is that it's a 7-pillar framework, essentially. For what I found over the years of, from the age of 17, essentially going through the Marines, my sort of journey is like, numerous people over the years have called me a machine for different reasons. Whether it's that being robotic in not feeling anything, doing like different difficult fitness challenges and stuff like that. That was a sort of recurring thing, and I was like, there's got to be something to this. So what I managed to do was, with the help of friends and again a network of people, to sort of talk about stuff and be like, well, what is this? How can I, like, what I've been through and what I've done in my life has been quite irregular and quite unique. So if I can pass anything on that I've learned in certain circumstances, because I'm a massive believer in skipping, like, if you don't need to go through hard torture, why do it? If you can learn from someone else. That's why we read books, right? Like, you read someone's autobiography to be like, I want the tips and secrets of what he knows so that I can go and do it. So for me, it was like, okay, well, where do we start? I need some sort of reference or framework to it. So like, the machine seemed a good sort of starting point. And essentially the 7 pillars spell out the word machine. So for me, the main core pillars of it is mindset from a starting point. So everything to do with the way you think about stuff is your absolute base level. In any walk of life, if you haven't got the right mindset for anything, you're destined to fail. But I solely believe that mindset isn't something you're born with. You can 100% develop it, learn about it, change it. There's two types of thought. There's two trains of thought. So there's fixed mindset and there's growth mindset.
Yeah.
A lady called Carol Dweck wrote a great book called Mindset, and she defined mindset as fixed or growth. Fixed being you are who you are, you're born with what you've got, you have talent or you don't, and that's it. Finished. Growth mindset is all about you can always learn something new, you can always change, you can always grow, and you can always get better. So for me, even people with a fixed mindset can, everyone has tendencies of both in certain aspects. Some show more than others. So my thing is to have a massive growth mindset in any walk of life. So it starts with that. Each thing I've sort of got around 10 sort of main points for each thing. That then go into detail on other things. But then the A is assets. So learning about, one thing I knew nothing about was money, finances, like business, anything like that. Like I was in the Marines, I got paid for it, but that was it. I worked hard, I got paid, I spent all my money. That was it. Like that was the circle. Like I was 17, 18 years old, traveling the world, doing all these things and just having a good time. Like there was no savings going on. There was definitely no investing going on. And it was just like, okay. And I mean, over the time, like I remember I got injured playing football and I ended up getting like a $5 or $6 grand payout.
Wow.
And where that money went, I could not tell you. Like exactly. So like learning about financial education and raising your literacy in your numerical literacy, I think is something that we're not taught at school. You're taught maths and Pythagoras' theorem and all that type of stuff and algebra, yet no one knows about mortgages. No one knows about like debt, good and bad debt. No one knows about interest rates and all that type of stuff. And it's like, you need to know this stuff to just as a human being, irrelevant of then throw business on top of that and all the rest of that type of stuff, taxes. And it's like, so that's another fundamental core pillar for me. Then we move on to character. So who you are as a person, what makes you who you are, your traits, going back to everything should align with your values and what you believe, and build who you are. But again, wherever you are, you can still increase and get better. Goes back to the growth mindset of even if you've made mistakes, like I have plenty, you can draw a line, have a look and be like, okay, but I can change and I can. My thing is like always just try and be better than you were yesterday. And everyone can do that. It's just draw a line in the sand and move on to the next. Okay, tomorrow's a new day. Let's do it. That, and then we're on to H, which is health, which is obviously a massive thing, especially for me. Like I genuinely believe fitness is a massive part of my life. It's like the oxygen I breathe. So I work out every morning, and I have, like, for me, working out first thing in the morning is like priority number one over everything else, because it sets me up for the day. Like even if I don't, like I get up at like 5:30 in the morning, but I don't always want to get up at 5:30 in the morning. But as soon as I get my trainers on and I go outside, within 5 minutes, I'm awake, I'm alert, I'm on it. So work out for 30 minutes a day. That's it. That's all you need to do. And you'll just start a concoction and of sort of chemicals going in your brain that are going to set you up, and you're going to be productive and all the rest of that type of stuff. And then also everything else that goes along with health. So making sure that your diet's okay. And I mean, I'm not like a strict counting my calories and stuff like that, but just balancing it out, just having it good. If you want to take away every now and again, then it's okay, but just don't get carried away with it. A good balance of fitness and diet. It can, like, if you work out enough, you can afford to have a couple of Chineses here and there or whatever. So it's a case of balancing it out. But then also sort of going alongside the whole mindfulness type stuff as well. So spending time, and it doesn't have to be meditating. I've tried to meditate and I end up forcing myself to sit down and be still and be quiet, where for me, going for a run is like my meditation. Like it's somewhere I can zone out, forget about stuff, and that, like, I'm happy with that. But like, if going for a walk in the morning without your headphones or your phone for like 10 minutes is like doing that, and getting out into nature and breathing some fresh air, like even if you work in an office, on your lunch break, take your sandwich or your salad and go for a little 10-minute walk. It will do you the world of good. So sort of health. And then the I is for influence. So in terms of influencing people, and also the influence that you take on board. We always need, like, your friends and your relationships are so key, like I said before. But if you want to have any sort of impact in the world, you need to have a certain amount of influence over, not over people, because I don't feel like you should influence over people, but for people to basically just lead by what you say. So part of my sort of thing is, like, my Instagram and stuff is me documenting like what I do. Like, I preach that go out for a run in the mornings, and you'll see on my Instagram I'll be out running, and you'll see a video of me talking about going out running. Like, you can't, don't talk the talk if you're not going to walk the walk. Essentially, lead by example, do what you say you will, and essentially people respect that. You need, if you want to be respected, you need to do stuff that is respectable, essentially. The N is for network. So again, social network, business network, whatever. You are the average of the 5 people you hang around with. I genuinely believe that. Your net worth is your network is your net worth. I genuinely believe that as well. And it's always, it's not what you know, it's who you know. If you can be that person that's, actually talking to someone and they need something, and you know someone that can provide that service, all of a sudden you can match those 2 people together, and that's great. And helping each other out, like, at the end of the day, support network, and whether it's business or at home or whatever, just being there to just listen to someone or whatever. And like, I've been the one that I needed someone to listen to me, so I've always got an ear or shoulder to cry on or whatever for people that need it, because we do need each other along the way. And then the E is essentially evaluate. So journaling, reflecting, actually analyzing what is going on. We spend a lot of time in business and at work looking at data and spreadsheets and analyzing and this, that, and the other, and goals and targets and things to hit and all this. Are we on track and blah, blah, blah. And yet we come home and we just veg out in front of the telly. We don't do the same thing for us. We don't monitor how we are. We don't check in on what's happening. And the machine for me is, it's not about being a machine. It's about finding an internal machine and making sure it's working efficiently and working effectively. And the evaluation process, I think, is one of the most important. Like, sitting down of a morning, writing out what you're doing. Just, it could be as little as a little to-do list. Like, I need to do these things. Because before I did that, would just be like, well, I've got 10 things to do. I did 2 of them. I thought about the others and just never got around to doing them, or forgot about something else, got in the way, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, prioritize certain things, sit at, like, okay, what's my minimum expectation from today? What do I want to get done that needs to get done? Triaging what, okay, this needs to be done before that. Not just, I need to hoover the carpet, but I don't, like, just get it done. But then also at the end of the day, reflecting and going, actually, because I wrote these things down, I would forget the good stuff that I would do in a day because I didn't write it down. Once I started writing stuff down, I was like, I thought I had a rubbish day, but I've done loads of stuff. I've been really productive. And for me, it's actually noting that down again, is like, give yourself a bit of a pat on the back. Like, there'll be numerous things that happen through the day, and you'll perhaps get to the end of the day and you'll be tired and you'll be like, I haven't done anything today. But if you can go back and look and say, no, do you know what? I've had a good day. I had 10 things to do on my list. I've done 10 of them, and I've done some extra stuff as well. So for me, that process is key, because we're all very, very quick to just, I'll just chill out. I'm too tired. But for, like, the sake of 10 minutes can make a massive, massive difference. Massive difference. So essentially that's that's the machine. And sort of for me, creating that internal machine to work efficiently, to one, be able to be on top of your game and master your personal excellence, and two, take back your self-control, because there's so many people, especially in, obviously we're in COVID-19 times now, and it's like, I know people that haven't got out of their dressing gown for 4 days.
I know, yeah, it's awful.
And it's because the structure of their work life has been sort of taken away from them out of their own control. It's like, well, now I don't have like anything to do, so I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And they lose that control. And it's, the longer this lockdown goes on, there's some people that are very, very worried about like what's to come.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, oh, but I loved my life before, like blah, blah, or whatever, or they're waiting for life to go back to normal. And it's like, what is normal? Is it going to go back to how it was?
No.
And what is it anyway? So like for me, in a time when we're sort of locked in our houses, working on stuff like this, there isn't enough hours in the day for me now.
Me
like
too, yeah.
Honestly, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
But like, I genuinely feel that you have to be careful to not slip into that, oh well, I'll just wait till things go back to normal. You basically got to get a grip of it and take charge of it, because if you don't, you can slowly slip into that, I've lost control, I've lost the grasp of it, and it's gone.
Yeah.
And for me, that it starts as something as simple as setting an alarm in the morning. Like even if you've got nothing to do for the rest of the day, if you set an alarm, it's a start to a structure of what you actually need as a human being. Otherwise, you just sat around not doing anything, completing Netflix, and it's
yeah, exactly,
crazy.
And when you say, like, with the machine, how, like, what kind of services are you going to be offering to people, and how can people work with you? Like, how is it going to work? Is it just they get the book, or
well, yeah, so there's going to be, obviously the book is going to be a main preface of it. There's going to be a few different sort of products per se. The book is essentially it's not a how-to guide. It's just more of a here is what it is, essentially, just an outline of what's what. And then moving on to that is going to be, my actual end goal is to have a membership site, essentially. So my goal is to build a community of like-minded people that want to better themselves in those areas. They join the community. There's online courses, there is online training, there's virtual training. So I would do live stuff, challenges, things over Zoom or Facebook Lives and things like that, within a group, like real-time stuff. So there'll be like online specific tutorial courses teaching you about what I'm talking about. And then there'll also be stuff where I'll jump on at different times to do, okay, well, how are we finding what we've learned and all the rest of that type of stuff, building a community, putting accountability to it. So if people are setting certain goals, then I will be like, okay, well, how are we doing? Like, what are we doing with it? Like holding people accountable to it, and building, trying to build some sort of, I suppose it's more of like an academy really, in terms of learning the structure and then implementing that into whatever it is that they want to use it for. And yeah, just try and help people to realize their full potential, really. So that's like the end sort of goal. But then also any sort of one-to-one stuff that people need a bit of a help with, if it's just a phone call, if it's a session in person when we can, or whether it's via Zoom or something like that. But also just to be there. If like some people just, I just don't really know about this. Like where am I going? What am I doing? And And so, yeah, that's pretty much my sort of my vision of it. At the moment, there's no website or anything just yet. It's mainly everything. I'm mostly active on my Instagram. So if anyone wants to follow me or anything like that, I pride myself on having a fairly sort of inspirational, motivational type page, which people like. So I'm quite active on there. I've put lots of content on my Instagram. So that's probably the best way to contact me if anyone wants to know more about what's coming and all the rest of that type of stuff.
Yeah. Do you find that people that follow you on Instagram, or that, you know, when they find your page and they contact you directly, is it like, what kind of advice are people really looking for? Is it mostly fitness, or is it general like discipline stuff as well?
A bit of both, really. But there's usually always an underlying deeper thing. People will ask a certain question, and then, like, I'm a very approachable guy, so like I'll always get back to anyone who reaches out or anything like that. And I'll also be like, you won't get a one word answer, so we'll end up with like a backwards and forwards. But then I can also tell within a couple of messages that it's like, hold on, you're asking for fitness advice here, but you're struggling with getting out of bed is what your issue is. Like, let's take it back a step. What are you doing in the day before? Like, what time are you going to bed? Like, I did a post a little while back about like so for me, I believe like choice is an illusion. Essentially, you don't have an infinite amount of choices when it comes to what you want to do. So a lot of people will comment on to me and saying, oh my God, like, you're disciplined, you're up at 5:30 every morning. But then they'll say, I want to do that, but they also want to stay out till midnight with their friends doing stuff. So it's like, if you want to get up at 5:30 in the morning, which is great, and I do, I'm in bed by like 10 o'clock. Like, so that there isn't, you've only got a finite amount of choices. If you want to achieve one thing over here, the choices are limited in what you can actually do, because you can't have your cake and eat it, unfortunately, on most things. So you'll sort of, some people, and you, but the thing is, you have to realize that yourself. Me saying that to you is like, okay, yeah, fine. You have to realize that yourself, that, okay, I'm going to stay up till 1, 2 in the morning, and then I'm going to try and get up at 5:30. You try and do that a couple of times and it won't happen. You'll just be tired. So it's a case of having the, like, I found in the early years, like, having that emotional maturity to be like, okay, no, yes. And it comes back, or everything always comes back to your values. So if you value something enough, like getting up early in the morning, you will go to bed early at night. Like, it's as simple as that. But if you don't, you'll be like, I really want to watch this show or whatever. It's prioritizing what comes first. It's like the whole sportsman that when they were younger, they had to sacrifice their nights out because you can't do both. Like, choice is an illusion, I believe. So sometimes it's one thing. So a lot of people do ask for fitness advice. I've had a lot of people follow my journey for a little while, and they were interested in joining the Marines. So something I've designed for them has been a training program to allow them to best prepare to join the Marines. So I've basically written, which is an initial idea, started as a 4-week training program. So today it's a 100-page document, basically, that encapsulates everything that I basically started doing a program, and I was like, well, hold on, I wish I knew this. And I just went back through my head and I was like, what did I not know that would have stood me in good stead when I wanted to join up? So I basically designed this product that is a book in itself. It's basically a Bible for anyone that wants to join the Marines. And everything that they need to know to get to the standard of, don't get me wrong, this will not get you to pass at the end of the 9 months. This will get you to day one, to the standard required to be at day one. But there are a lot of people that, like, that knowledge isn't general knowledge. Like, you don't get what I've put in this book is only through my own experience of what I learned, which is now helping. And I've got 20 or 30 lads now that have bought that are on the program, that are loving it, and I've created a small little community of those that are pushing themselves to achieve that goal, which is amazing. But I also get other people, just like, oh, your discipline's amazing, how do you get up early in the morning, and this, that, and the other. So it's really all sorts. It's not one, and the thing with the machine is it's not one specific niche thing. So it's good that it's sort of a wide array of sort of what it actually is, really.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to try and delve a little bit deeper into your personality.
Okay.
In your ebook, one of the things you say is that do one thing every day that makes you laugh. And from following you for a while, I feel like my general impression of you at the beginning was that you seem very serious. I don't know if it's the discipline thing or what it is that made me think that. So what do you do for fun? Like, what makes you laugh? And that, I feel like that's kind of a side to you that I don't really see.
Yeah. Okay. I suppose it's, and I've sort of realized that myself as well. Like I remember looking for a couple of days back, I looked back through some of my stuff, and everything is like, do this, do that, do this, do that. And it's like, going back to like practice what you preach, I was like, well, hold on, there's like no personality for me other than like not barking at people, but just sort of like the whole discipline side of stuff. I'm actually gonna work more on bringing that side into it, because like I am the most relaxed, chilled out person ever. Like there's no, I'm not an uptight, shout in your face type, get down and do that type of thing. But so one of the things that was ingrained into me in the Marines was, one of the values is cheerfulness in the face of adversity. So like things can always be worse. So like always look on the bright side, all that type of stuff. And that's it. Like there's not really one thing that, like, I try and make a joke out of anything. Like it's, for me, it's less muscles to smile than it is to frown. So I mean, all sorts. I love comedy films. Like Dumb and Dumber is my all-time favorite movie. Absolutely brilliant. But just in general, like I'm never usually serious. But then I suppose now, when, like I said, when I go back from Instagram, it's like my whole Instagram page is all serious. It's like, wow, okay, like let's try and put some more personality in it that way. But I just make light heart of everything. Like some will say sometimes I take the mick too much, like it's a little bit too much. So it's finding a balance, I suppose, and just keeping it. But there's some sort of statistic somewhere around, it's something like a child like between the ages of like 1 and 3 laughs something like 10,000 times a day or something stupid. Wow. And like an adult laughs like 100 times or 50 times a day or something like that. It's like, it's ridiculous. But I mean, I don't really know. Like I'm always like, I do. So there's I don't know if you've seen the video. So like I'm in a few different, everyone's in WhatsApp groups and stuff on their phones these days. So I don't know if you saw. So today I basically posted on my Facebook. I put it on my story on Instagram actually, and it's the black guy with the flowery shirt, and it's it's Friday then, and it's Saturday Sunday. That like that's hilarious.
I love that video.
It's I do laugh, honestly. I do laugh.
Do you have a guilty pleasure?
So I used to. So pizza was my dirty pleasure.
I love a pizza.
I used to love pizza.
Why do you say you used to? Please don't tell me you don't eat pizza anymore.
Well, so I So I've stopped drinking alcohol for 18 months. Well, loosely for 18 months, but strictly it was my niece's birthday. So the 3rd of November was the last time I had a drink. And since then, and since I've got a little bit, soon as I went over the age of 30, like I was just like, hangovers are just the devil. So I just, no drinking anymore. But since then, like I never used to have to worry about what I ate food wise. Not from a weight perspective. Like I am what I am. Like I can eat whatever I want. People hate me for it.
Yes, annoying.
But so I used to, like, pizza was meat. Like I'd love it, and I would easily tackle a double XL Papa John's pizza, like no dramas. And so, but since I stopped drinking, I've noticed the way that food makes me feel more. So the effects of certain foods I'll eat and I'll be like, whoa. I think because I've not had the drink in my system, and I wasn't bad, like I wasn't an alcoholic, but since I've just completely eradicated it from my whole, like I haven't had it for that long, I eat something and then the next morning, it's not like hungover, but I'm like, it just doesn't sit properly. And so I did a running challenge in May, and my reward at the end of it was a pizza. Like I didn't have pizza all month, and I had a pizza, and it was great. However, I pretty much went the next month, so pretty much all of June without a pizza. And I was like, because I was sort of trialing this, like, don't get me wrong, I would have pizza once or twice a week before. Like it was something, it was easy because you just put it in the oven, and I loved it. It was just like, let's go for it. And then I ordered a Papa John's like 3 or 4 days ago, and honestly it made me feel so sick.
Oh no.
It was just like, and like for the whole, probably the rest of the day, I actually felt hungover, and I was like, I think that's the end of pizza.
Oh no.
So I don't, so I think maybe the end of pizza. We'll see if I crave it, which is bad. But that's pretty much my guilty pleasure. I mean, I don't mind a little bit of Justin Bieber, so that's probably a bit of a bigger guilty pleasure.
I love Justin Bieber.
I don't mind some of his new, like as a young kid, he was just annoyed. His voice was just, but I don't mind. Since he turned into a bit of a rebel, I think his music got a bit better.
Yeah, I love a bit of JB. What's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear. So I genuinely believe that we live life on a scale usually. So imagine if it's a linear scale of 1 to 10. So 1 being worst day of your life, absolutely nothing's any worse. 10 is absolute elation, children being born, whatever it is. And I feel that far too many people live in a bracket of 4 to 6. Like worst day of their life, they get shouted at their boss, like they have a bad day at work or whatever, is about a 4. It's never like a 1. It's like a 4. And then like going out on the weekends with their friends and having a great night out and all the rest of it is like a 6. But they never really go to a 1. They never really go to a 6. They just sit in this mundane middle ground. And it's just, everything's just, I'm okay. I'm all good. Like nothing, no one, there's never any like, yes, I had the best week. Like it was amazing. I did this, or like complete bosh. And for me, my biggest fear is to live in that bracket. I've spent a lot of my life doing, and don't get me wrong, you have to go through it. You have to, like, I don't live my life in 1s and 10s. Like, that's just too much.
Emotional roller coaster.
Too much. But you have to go through the 4 to 6 to get to the 10 and then back to the 1 and stuff. I look at it more for me as, if everyone else is on a linear scale, I'm like, I've bent it upwards.
Okay.
So they're in this bottom sort of pit, and I'm just sort of scaling along the top. But and it goes back to like joining the Marines because of that 0.1%. Like for me, having a normal life, that is genuinely my worst fear in falling into that, fumbling through, sort of never really sort of going through what I went through. The whole feelings type stuff was like, it opened new doors. It was like, whoa, okay, like, hold on, we've got like two different very different avenues of thought. So if even on the worst days you're feeling something, and then on the best days is obviously the best days anyway. But yeah, my sort of worst fear is being in that middle lane, and being mediocre children and white picket fence and that type of like, I live for excitement, adventure, and something more than what this is. Essentially.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that is my biggest fear.
Okay. And then I always finish off with top three. So top 3 movies.
Oh, okay. So Dumb and Dumber for comedy. 100%.
Yeah.
Best movie out there.
Yeah.
Gladiator.
Okay.
Just an absolute classic.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a bit of a more recent one, actually. No. So I'm torn on the last one. So I was going to go with, I can't go with that. Shawshank Redemption as the third one.
I love that movie. That's amazing, that movie. Yeah. Okay.
This wasn't in the running, but between Shawshank and Green Mile, they're probably up there as the same. Yeah. But I was going to throw Focus in there. I don't know if you've seen Focus.
Oh, I haven't seen that. No.
With Will Smith and what's her name? She's like the most gorgeous woman in the world. The Australian blonde. Oh God, what's her name? Can't remember. She's absolutely.
Oh, is she the one from Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah.
Margot Robbie, is that her name?
Margot Robbie, that's it.
Yes.
Yeah. So
okay.
I won't tell you what it's about. Watch it. It's good.
Yeah.
It's great.
Okay. I'll add that to my list. Okay. Top 3 habits or activities to help with self-discipline.
Top 3 habits to help with self-discipline. Get up early in the morning. So set an alarm for earlier than you're usually awake for. Make your bed first thing in the morning. And journaling is too broad, so I would say set intentions for your day.
Okay. Yeah.
So make sure at the very least write 3 things that you're going to do for the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, get up early in the morning, make your bed, set intentions for the day.
Yeah. And then top 3 full body exercises.
The burpee is up there, 100%.
Oh, I hate burpees. They're the worst.
I love burpees. People hate burpees. I don't get what the crack is with them. It's got to be a burpee, a pull-up. I mean, it's not completely full body, but there's not many exercises that are.
But how can you train yourself for pull-ups? Because I've never been able to do a pull-up.
You need some resistance bands. That's all you need.
Oh, okay.
So you either need to go into a gym that has a kneeling.
Yeah, that's what I used to use.
Bearing thing, which is fine. But essentially that's like the new age thing for that. But a resistance band is a massive. Imagine a massive elastic band.
Yeah.
it goes around the pull-up bar, and you put your feet in it. And then as you pull, you get different resistance bands. So you get a really tough, you get a really strong one to begin with, which you're barely using your arms. And then you come down the bands before you know it, you won't need to use them. But pull-ups is a massive muscle memory exercise. Like if you don't do, like if I don't do pull-ups for a week, I won't be able to do half the reps.
Wow. Okay.
It's massively a continual thing that you need to keep going. You need to keep doing. But yeah, I would say they're not completely full body, but a burpee, a pull up, and a press up. You can pretty much stay fit. If that's the only 3 exercises you ever did for the rest of your life, you would stay in good condition and running, I would say.
Okay.
But if you did burpees quick enough, you wouldn't need to do any cardio. But that would make a lot of people feel sick just thinking about that. So
yeah, no, I can't stand burpees.
What are your top 3 full body exercises? What do
I
you
don't
enjoy
even know.
doing?
I like a leg day. I prefer squatting and doing anything that's legs, but anything that's upper body, I struggle.
Yeah, but that's a female thing. No, females don't like doing upper body because they think they're going to get butch doing it.
No, that's not why. I just think because I'm just so weak.
Yeah, but that's only because you haven't done it.
Yeah, because I used to train quite a lot, and I had a PT, and I just didn't really like the upper body days. But,
true, but that's personal preference. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It's like some people don't like running.
Yeah. I don't particularly like run. I prefer cycling now that I have a bike.
Oh, good. Nice.
Yeah. But yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Thank you so much. The last thing I was going to say is how can people connect with you? I know you've mentioned your Instagram. That's like your main.
Yeah, my main, that's my main platform that I'm active on the most. I'm on all social media. Well, I'm not on Twitter, so I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. All of which are growing as we speak. But I'm mostly active on my Instagram. So the best way to reach out to me is either on Facebook or Instagram. Mainly Instagram, that's where I'm most active. And yeah, come and say hello. And I'm more than happy to help anyone who needs any help in whatever they want. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been awesome.
Oh, awesome. It's been my pleasure. Thank you very much for having me. I've drank my cup of tea.
I'm glad. Is it your only cup of tea for the month or whatever?
I just couldn't tell you the last time I had a cup of tea. So it'd be a first cup of tea and the last cup of tea in a long time.
Yeah. Okay.
But
thanks.
Mind you, I liked it. May have some more.
Good.
You may have started something. Out with a pizza, in with the green tea.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you very much, Martha. Take care.
You too.